and we start traveling madly the Middle East countries. Our first activity was to hold private conversations with Mexicans. I remember that we met in Madrid, tried to control, because it was a disaster, not only for us as producers. We didn't have money to pay the payroll of the government, a rich oil country. And then there were all sorts of distortions in the market. And then we decided, doing that in an organization that was criticized and presented, I won't say that, but as a non-very credible organization, which is the OPEC countries. And we started working with that, and we were able to reestablish a sense of trust among OPEC and taking some decisions that, by the way, helped a lot producers like the state of Texas. If you remember, more than 500,000 barrels were closed down in this country because of the prices. It was unsustainable. But not only that, during many years there was not investment in new reserves. Companies were buying each other, buying reserves. There was not exploration. Who could explore for oil with $5 or $6 or $7 per barrel? So there was a collapse. And then also the problem with refining we had. We were almost the only one making investment in refining in new refineries, at least in this country. So there was a sense how we recover the equilibrium. And the US helped us a lot in that vision, because fortunately this is a country that combines the producers and the consumers. So you have in the same country the fight between what the consumers need, want, and what the producer wants and need. Internally in the country we did the same. And we start saying, well, we have to recover the control over our natural resources. And we start a process, a very difficult process, first with the Constitution, then with the new hydrocarbon law, and we are now, I would say, in a very important point when we have been able to renegotiate and we have been able to readapt the whole system to the new policy. And believe me, we have to feel, all of us, very happy, because the scenario was, I remember some people that were predicting a catastrophic scenario for Venezuela 2 years ago. And we have gone through the most incredible and complex process of negotiation with private companies in Venezuela, and look where we are. We were able to discuss, putting, of course, on the table the interests of Venezuela, and telling the companies, let's recover the equilibrium. Sometimes they feel, or some people feel, that we went too far. But believe me, the equilibrium was broken in such a way that we had to go that far. And by the way, in the future you will see, and we will always have to be working this sense of equilibrium. So when people discuss about energy in the US, my friends, with all respect, I will say, unless you understand that there should be an equilibrium in this country and in the relationship between US and the rest of the world, you will never have energy security. A country in the hemisphere that has only 1/3 of the population and consumes 70% of total energy produced in the hemisphere, there is something wrong there. So this view that concentrates only how the US could secure the access to resources of energy to keep their needs in the future is not enough. By the way, when we talk about development, if we think, and we are telling to people in Latin America and in Africa, that they have to follow the model of the US. If we are talking about energy consumption, to sustain this model, we will need 6 additional planets. Could you imagine, do you think it will be peace and stability in a world like that? Of course, I try to exaggerate to put it in this way, because I want to make my point. I understand that technologies could do a lot, and many things could be done, but we need to do something that goes beyond the traditional approach. This is one thing. What happened with countries that they don't have energy at all? How can we think then of promoting development in countries, poor countries in the world, if they don't have access to energy? Or we are accepting that we live in a divided world where, on the one hand, there are the big and the powerful, and on the other hand, there are the hopeless, the weak, and the poor countries. Because if this is the case, we better be prepared for a very difficult and tough job. And equilibrium, how to maintain the equilibrium, how to correct the asymmetries in the energy market, and how to have a proactive policy that will go from even start discussing the model of civilization that we have, and on the other hand, how we start guaranteeing people access to energy from now. We, modestly, in Venezuela, we have started doing that. We have a program that is trying to use energy to promote a different kind of integration in our countries. And we think that if we can guarantee a process of regional integration in energy in the hemisphere, we will help to build up a very strong and productive hemisphere, and we will try also to correct the asymmetries. And for that, we have to think outside the box. I'll give you a small example. There is a country called Uruguay. Uruguay has a refinery. They needed some help. We told them, we help you. And they say, well, I have problems. Don't worry, we need information technology and some agriculture product. Why don't you pay back with that? And then we can upgrade your refinery. But then we told them, what about if you produce your own oil with us? So why don't you come and produce heavy oil crude that, you know, before it was like a challenge, it's still a very important challenge, but now, though, if you want to talk about oil reserves, they are there. And now we know how to produce them, and technology every single day is new technology, so that there are a lot of possibilities of production and exploiting all those resources. So we will have a joint venture with them. They will secure the security. They will secure the access to fuel and all they need for the refinery. We will have with them the refinery then, and then we will start a process of cooperation. Of course, this is a different kind of cooperation of the traditional one we have. And again, what happened with private companies? Some of them, a minority of them, with more ideological vision, they say, no, we don't believe that. The only way of doing that is my way. Or the rest of the companies say, I want to see what you're doing. By the way, when you get business people involved with you, they have more ideas than you. Because this is precisely what they have beside capital. They have, you know, creativity and the sense of opportunity, and they see things that you don't see. For example, we thought that it was important, and this is something that is shared in Latin America, to recover an important presence of state in energy sector. Argentinians, this is their own decision, decided to rehabilitate their own national oil company, and some other countries. So though this is part of this reorganization